What's up, traders? This is Matt with Conservative Trades, bringing you probably for the first time ever on this channel an analysis of Bitcoin. So this is something that I haven't talked too much about on this channel. Obviously now Bitcoin is ramping back up, and it's the fun thing that everybody's watching, and I'm constantly getting hit with questions about Bitcoin. I was in Bitcoin way back, before the 2017 run up, the initial run up to 20K back at the end of 2017. I was in Bitcoin at a very good time, and I actually did very well on that run up. And I remember the altcoin season that hit, and all the other altcoins were following suit, and all these, crap coins were getting pumped up, and, rode a few of those, and, had just had a good time with all of that stuff. And obviously when it started dumping, in 2018, at the start of 2018, it started losing a lot of its value. And we all know that from there, it kind of went into a long bear market. And obviously here in the last year, it's really, ran back up, and it seems like there's been a little bit more of the whole, mass adoption and that sort of thing. And so, and then of course, we all know the story. It blew way past 20K last month, blew way past 20K, and tapped up to 42K. And so we're in a very interesting moment with Bitcoin right now. It seems to be in somewhat of a point of consolidation, and everybody's just kind of wondering, like, where's it going to go? Where's it going to go, right? So I figured what I would do is make this video and talk about what I see happening with Bitcoin. Now I've charted Bitcoin all through the last several years. I've watched it. There's been a lot of very critical calls that I've made, but because I haven't really put it on the channel, nobody would really know that, except for the people who are kind of in my inner circle that, who I keep up with on a weekly basis, and we talk about this stuff. But I'm actually going to go public with this stuff now, and we're going to see what's going to happen here with Bitcoin. But right now, here's what I'm watching. Now, you can see there was this moment that we had here back on January 21st where it just had this rush of buy volume, and it got bought all the way back up, and then it dumped almost all the way back down to that point. It eventually did right here, right? Now we're looking at the 4-hour time chart. And here's why I believe that happened. We were basically looking at a trend line. There was a trend line that had been formed roughly here, right? And it had a trend line rejection here. It had a trend line rejection here. Then it came down, and it did what? It kind of, continued to bounce off of this trend line, right? It dipped down through it, but got right back up. And that was seen by a lot of people as a fairly bullish move. It got, dipped down again, got bought right back up. And then it came up here, reclaimed these moving averages. As a matter of fact, you can look at some of these moving averages here. This is kind of where they were all meeting together on the 4-hour time chart. And so it broke up. It broke up through the 100 moving average and the 200 moving average, and of course the 50 moving average. It broke through all these moving averages, and this is why you saw this rush of volume come in, because everybody's saying here, okay, it's on the 4-hour chart, it's breaking through all these critical moving averages, and it's busting out of this trend line. Like, this is good. This is it. This is the moment where it rushes back up and breaks over 42K. What happened? A lot of smart money took this as an opportunity to take profits, because a lot of smart money probably knows that this is going to consolidate a little bit longer before it really pumps up. And so you might be saying, well, yeah, but it's still maintaining above these moving averages. And look, it's really, it's continuing to stay above that trend line. So you may be thinking, is this the bullish moment? And sure, it might be. Here's the thing with trading, guys. Nobody knows. Okay, we can't see into the future, right? We do the best that we can with the technical indicators that we have, and watching the price action and understanding the fundamentals. But it does look like there's Bitcoin's making a very strong case to the upside right now, right? But here's why I don't think, and if I had to put money on it, which I'm not, so let me be clear about that right now. I'm not messing with it at all in this point of consolidation, right? But if I had to put money on it, or if I had money on it, I would say that I think it's still very potentially gonna at least test this line of support one more time. And here's why. Because I'm watching this volume. This volume here just does not look like the kind of volume that we need to see for it to really, really rush up and break through these levels. Now, could it come up and double top at 42K? Could it test that level and then kind of come all the way back down? Yes, it could slowly creep up there. I mean, let's face it, when it broke 20K, that's pretty much what was happening. The volume, it was just kind of slight buying up of volume, and then it started, then the real volume came in, right? So I suppose we could see that same thing happen here. Okay, this could have been, like a little bit of an accumulation phase. But one other thing I'm looking at is if we put these moving averages back in, we're still pretty far extended over that 100-day moving average and the 200-day moving average. And it just so happens that the 100-day moving average is meeting right up around here, around this 24K mark, which if you look back over here, that would be the next real nice line of support. Of course, 20K after that. But I really feel like what's going to happen, because this volume is so weak and it seems like it's dropping off, and especially here, we're on the daily chart now. This is a daily candle, okay? Daily candle. And that's not a very bullish looking candle here, right? But what I think is going to happen is I think that there's going to be continued sell-off. I mean, you got to understand, there are investors and there are financial institutions that want this to come down again. They want this to come down again. Why? So that they can buy in again. They can take all the profits that they've been making up here, and they can buy in where? At a lower price. Okay. And maybe there needs to be a retest of this 20K mark. Look at this. I mean, this looks like a molehill compared to this mountain up here, right? But this is where it was back in 2017. Okay. And I think investors would love to see it come back down here and test this previous area of resistance and watch it maintain, a hold and form a strong support there, right? But do I think it's necessarily going to come all the way back down there? No, I don't. I think it more reasonably could come down to 24K. Again, that's kind of where we're meeting that 100-day moving average right here on the daily. I think it could come all the way down there. And I think it could test that and start building really strong support around 24K and then gradually start making its way back up. That's kind of what I think is going to happen in the long term. Again, could I be wrong about this? Yes, I've been wrong before with Bitcoin. I'm not trying to sit here and act like I'm some, Bitcoin wizard, but my charting and my analysis of Bitcoin in the past has been, I've been a lot more right than I have been wrong with it. Okay. It can always take us by surprise, especially, with a volatile, type of thing as this is, or as volatile as Bitcoin can be. We know that Bitcoin can be extremely volatile and extremely unpredictable at times. As a matter of fact, a lot of the guys who are in my inner circle, anytime we have conversations and we talk about this sort of thing, I give them my assessment, and I always say, but then again, it is Bitcoin. Yeah, I think this is all just, it's going to lead up to points where investors are going to take profit. They're going to take profit, and I think that one of two things is going to happen. If it does continue to go up, I think that there's a strong case that there's going to be another massive sell-off, and it'll come back down and at least test this area as support again. I think if investors can see that it's going to hold that 30K mark as support, then I think that's where a lot of the buying is going to come back into play, and people are going to look for this to kind of start breaking through this 42K area. They're going to look for the next big area is 50K, right? And after that, it's probably 75K, then 100K. So again, I think one of two things is going to happen. It's either going to come up here and double top, and there's going to be another sell-off, and it's going to test this line of support, right? Or it's going to break through this line of support, and it's going to start forming support down here at 24K, right? Let's see, that's 25. So 24K. I think it's going to form a line of support here. Or, and I know I said that's one of two things are going to happen, but I guess the third thing that could happen is it could just end up breaking out and continuing to go on a tear. I mean, that certainly could happen. But again, with what I'm seeing here with volume and the price action and knowing where the moving averages are sitting right now on the daily, I tend to think that we're at least going to retest this as support, or we're going to come down here and start testing the 24K area as support. These to me are the more likely scenarios of what's going to happen, right? Am I bullish with Bitcoin long term? Absolutely. And once again, I will make it known, like let it be known, it could totally break out of 42K. It could totally break out of here, right? And it could continue to keep going. I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, It is Bitcoin. So, but like I said, I wouldn't put my money on it. I wouldn't put my money on it, and I probably wouldn't put any money on it really until it came back down here to 24K. Maybe if it tested this line of support at 30K and really proved to hold that line, maybe there. But for me right now, I'm looking at 24K, and I think it's very possible that a lot of investors are looking at the same thing. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll check back in with you guys here in another week or two, and we'll reassess it and see where it is, and we'll go from there. All right, guys.